Hey everybody, JC here with another TNI toy review, and today we're going to take a look at the new Game of Thrones 6-inch Legacy Collection White Walker figure from Funko Toys. Now this is the fourth figure in the series. We've actually looked at all the other figures in the first wave. There's a total of 6, and this is the last one that we're taking a look at. And like with all the other figures, this comes in the same kind of standard window box packaging. You've got the Game of Thrones Legacy Collection logo up at the top, along with number 4 indicating this is the fourth figure in the series. Then you've got the figure clearly displayed in the window box packaging, and then underneath that you have the symbol or crest for the figure and the name of the figure. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the crest is for these guys. It almost looks like maybe continents. So I don't really know. I mean, these are kind of like zombies, so I don't really think they have like a family crest, but it looks like maybe they've used like continents for their symbol. So then on one side you have another window so you can see the figure from the side, and then on the other side you have the Game of Thrones logo, again that symbol for the White Walker, and then the name of the character. And then finally on the back we have a picture of the character from the TV show. I think this particular guy showed up in 2 episodes. One, he was riding a horse, and then, well, I won't give it away, but basically he's I think was in two episodes. And then next to the picture is a list of all the figures in the first series. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, if you're not familiar with the TV show or these the White Walker, these zombie-like creatures, they've only been in a few of the episodes so far, so we really don't actually know a whole lot about them. But they are basically, for all intents and purposes, seem to be like zombies that kind of wander the Arctic north, heading towards civilization, basically. It seems, if I recall, like in the first episode, somebody was killed and turned into one of these zombie-like creatures. And like their only weaknesses, I think, are like fire and dragon's teeth. So definitely, I don't think they would stand up too well against an army of dragons or anything. But otherwise, they're pretty formidable. And like I said, even though they haven't played a huge role in the overall story so far, I imagine eventually they will end up playing a pretty big role. So this figure, we've got a lot of detail with like the dried, shrivel up type zombie skin. So a lot of nice detailing with the sculpts and everything. He's kind of got like a little beard, and then he's got the white hair with some nice paint shadings in there to give it some texture look. The hair itself is kind of a soft, rubbery type material, so it doesn't prohibit the movement of the head too much. There's a lot of give and everything, which is nice. Now, one thing I want to note is he comes with this one accessory, which is a spear, and we'll get into that more. And he's actually got 2 open-handed, his hands are sculpted with 2 open hands. But this one hand, at least on my figure, the hand comes out very easily on the right hand. So like if you wanted to get him to hold the spear, the best thing to do is just to take the hand out and then slide the spear in there, and then stick the hand back in. And like I said, it has a tendency, the hand itself has a tendency to come out very easily, so you want to be careful. This hand is actually the exact opposite. It's very difficult to get it to come out at all if you want to pull it. They're just attached with little pegs. So this one, on mine at least, was very difficult to get out, but this one comes out very easily. In fact, when you try and stick the spear in there, it will fall out very easily. But anyway, getting back to the figure, he's got some nice details with the little leather pieces on his wrists. You can see like the little ties and marks on it, and then on his like skirt piece, he's got some like beads and stuff sculpted on there. Again, this, like the hair, is kind of a soft, rubbery material, so it has give, so it doesn't really prohibit the movement of the legs too much. And then again, he's got like the leathery type pieces around his ankles and stuff, and there's some nice detailing. And then like on his feet, I like the toes and the detailing with the toes and the skin and everything. And the skin color is basically, like I said, done to be like a shriveled up type zombie type skin. It's gray with some like white shading mixed throughout, so it gives it some nice texture and everything. And then his eyes are a blue color, so they kind of stand out against the gray pretty nicely. And I think they got the likeness of this character pretty well with the face likeness. They said I think he appears in like 2 episodes, and I don't know if he's supposed to be like the leader or something. He definitely, when we first see him, seems kind of like he's one of the leaders of the group. But again, we don't really know much about these guys yet, so I don't know what his actual role in the tribe of these zombie walkers was. But anyway, detail-wise, I think they've done a pretty nice job with this figure. Then he comes with the one accessory, the spear, which again has some nice detail. The handle is basically kind of the same paint coloring as the skin of the figure, grays with some dark grays mixed in, giving it some texture. Then he's got these like leather pieces at the end, kind of to give it that tribal type spear look. And then it's got this clear blade, so I'm assuming this is supposed to be like an icicle that is used as the blade essentially. These guys kind of come from the Arctic North, so I believe this is supposed to be an icicle. Figure is one of the taller figures in the first wave. He stands at about 6 3/4 inches tall. Not quite 7 inches tall, but he's definitely one of the taller. He's about the same height as the Hound figure. Hound may be just a little bit taller, especially with the helmet on, but they're definitely pretty close in size. For articulation, this figure's got pretty good articulation, pretty comparable to what we've seen with the other figures in the wave. I haven't had any quality control issues with the articulation for the most part, which is good. The head's just on a ball joint, so we can look down and up some. And like I said, because of the hair, even if the hair wasn't there, he wouldn't be able to really look back any further than this. But because the hair is soft goods, it doesn't, it wouldn't prohibit him moving his head, and he can also rotate left and right without any problem. The arms are attached with your standard ball hinged joints, so he's got rotation, pretty good rotation there, and he can stick his arm all the way out. There's no bicep swivel or anything. He does have the single hinged elbow with the swivel at the elbow, so he can bend his elbow pretty good, and he can, like I said, swivel it there. And then he's got the hinges at the wrists. I don't know why this hand pops out so easily, but it does. But I don't, even though these wrist guards kind of stick out a little bit, it doesn't really seem to affect the hand movement at all. And he's got hinges at the hand, so he can swivel, and he's got the up and down movement. Then he's got the midsection articulation, which again, the upper body and the lower body are just connected with a ball joint. However, unlike with some of the other figures where this joint will pop off really easy, I've not had any problem with the joint popping off, which is good. And he's got swivel there. He can't really look down very much, but he does have some back movement. And again, I've had no problem with it popping off or anything. There's no waist articulation on this one, so he's just got the swivel at the midsection. The legs are attached with the ball joint, so he can do the splits good. He does have the thigh swivel, and he's got the double hinged knees, and then he's got the ankle pivots. So he's got up and down movement, and he's got some pivot at the ankle. No peg holes on the feet. That's it for my review. Overall, this is probably one of the better figures in the first series. I think the likeness is pretty good to the character. It's primarily a CGI character, so that's probably one of the reasons why they're able to do a good job with the likeness. the paint apps and the textures and everything are really solid. The accessory is pretty cool, and most importantly, I really haven't had any significant quality control issues with this particular figure, and the articulation's pretty decent as well. So, like I said, out of the first wave, this is probably one of the better figures. I think my favorite in the first wave is the Jon Snow figure, and then the Tyrion I liked, and then I'd probably put this one third. The others, I've had some quality control issues, so they kind of drop down on my preference. But if you're a big Game of Thrones fan, then I definitely think you want to pick these up. As I mentioned in the previous video, I've heard that Funko has addressed some of the quality control issues that people have been having with the initial batch of first wave figures that were released, and so later waves should hopefully not have so many quality control issues. These have been hitting Barnes & Noble stores, but they should start hitting other retail places here shortly. So if you weren't able to find them at Barnes & Noble, just keep checking other places that typically carry Funko products, and you should probably start seeing these figures show up there very soon. So that's my review. Hope you enjoy it. Until next time, I'll check you later.